the well-being of the Santa Cruz Valley has done very well with the opportunity to be out in nature and out on the trails. We have a book, it's called One Story, One City Book, and it's called The Nature Fix, and it's by Florence Williams. We're going to present you a copy. I am very picky about books, and it is one of the most amazing things I have ever read. There's global studies going on. And I think it will make you proud of your district, what's going on here, and all of the benefits of nature, cognitive development, reductions in stress, innovative thought, and help with mental health. And I encourage you and your staff to read this book. I was shocked at the relationship between stress, mental health, and problems with anxiety and children with addiction to computers and what have you. But there's a lot of discussion there that will help all of us understand how to better utilize the things that we have. Along with the county's Department of Parks and Recreation, Public Works, you've been amazing partners in allowing our open space and trail systems to work integrated. And we're very excited about potentially the transfer of ownership of William S. Hart Park from the county to the city. It is a crown jewel of history, and it is in the middle of our old town.
I protest,
Sir, I
question
would
is,
ask you to sit down, please.
Park may not own that park. I mean, a county may not own that park.
Can we assist this gentleman with information? Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about Hart Park in the sense that that was will to the county and would be something that we would value almost more than anything. He left his entire estate to the public upon his death, all his artifacts, and it's an incredible history. It's kind of the beginning of the film industry, and it has acres of wilderness and miles of trails, and people use it well, and there's a lot of animals there. We have been able to host the Cowboy Festival there, and we've been delighted to have that opportunity. We also have recently, the city's historic preservation grant opportunities have been upgrading the historic buildings in the park, which we're very happy about. And so this true jewel is one of my highest priorities this year, to work with the supervisor and to bring that forth to a good completion between our agencies. We look forward to working with you on this issue. I wanted to just mention that we have a partnership on the Pleasant Coast Trail Plan, which are going to take us from Santa Cruz Valley all the way from
Speak up, Lorraine.
okay. The trail route that will go from the Pacific Crest Trail, I think this is really important, something I'd like to work with the supervisor on, because it goes straight across from our open space into your open space and needs to get all the way to the Pacific Ocean. So that would be the only time that the trail that goes across three continents, three countries, Mexico, Canada, would ever touch the Pacific Ocean. So it would be a national treasure and something that's very rare. And I think it would be one of those legacy project supervisors that getting that done would be something that people, all future generations would use. These linkages are amazing. I just flew last Friday the rim of the valley with Congressman Garcia and some pretty high wind on an echo flight. There are very few opportunities left to interconnect these wildland corridors, and that's something that you're very concerned about, Supervisor, is the interconnecting of the mountains around your district, and that would interconnect the Santa Susanas, the Santa Monicas, and the San Gabriel Mountains. So this, I'm going to give you a map today of that. I know you've already supported the legislation, which we're very proud of, and thank you. But this would allow healthier air, healthier water, and amazing recreation opportunities for your district and our city. We think 191,000 acres with we do together on this, everyone will understand that this has taken decades, and it's been worked through your office and through the city, and it's critical policy, and it's very, very important and the people to have these institutions. So we're very excited about that. And I know that some of these things seem so monumental, but remember that when we all started, we didn't have much to work with. And today, we have a lot of wonderful things to work with. So I thank you and your staff for continuing that process, working with us on the sheriff's station, which is truly the most amazing thing to have done for all the men and women in law enforcement. And we've been so thrilled to be able to partner with the county, and I'm very thankful for having Supervisor Barger working with us. So let me turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem Gibb.
Can I respond to
Yes.
everything that you said?
I would love that.
Yeah, so on Hart Park, obviously, you know, for those of you who don't know, I started at the county 35 years ago as a staff member, just President Antonovich. So I remember Hart Park and Hart Park in its heyday with the museum. And what I've seen, and I know you've been involved, but that it's become almost a stepchild to the museum to move forward. And nothing would make me happier than to have it be under local control. Because understand this, it's very prescriptive in terms of what you can do with it. It has to go to probate court, so it's not a done deal. So it's not as though giving it to the city is going to allow them to make any changes. I mean, it's very specific, as you know, Ken, in terms of what you can and cannot do. It's just simply allowing local control of truly a treasure in this community. And so my goal is to work with you. You know, the devil's gonna be in the details. I know that we're currently talking about what that's gonna look like, including the animals, including the park, including the museum, including everything in the museum, getting all the artifact, the list of everything that's there. But I'm excited. I think that it's going to allow this community to really take ownership of something that has so much historical significance. So I'm excited about that. And on the trails, obviously, you know, this is something that, to your point, Lorraine, you only get one chance to really seal the deal. And I'm looking forward to working collaboratively. Susan Emer's here from my office, who works on a lot of the open space issues. And so, you know, I am committed to that. I look forward to seeing how this plays out. I know that it's an opportunity for this region, but it's an opportunity for really the state. This is something that is a pretty big deal. And obviously, it's got federal support, and so I look forward to working with you on that. And was there anything else I missed that you talked about? Okay, but I mean, I just wanted, because I know we've had some people express concerns about Hart and what it would mean to transfer it. It simply means that it's going to go to the city, and let the city work with the community versus have it being from the museum downtown. And quite frankly, given how this board is dealing with situations, I'd rather have it under the purview of the city of Santa Clarita than the board of supervisors at this point, said with somewhat serious sarcasm. So with that, I look forward to working with you all.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here, and I also want to thank Supervisor Barger for taking the time to join us today, and a special thank you to her staff as well, who get to deal with us kind of on a day-to-day basis. And the city manager will be happy to know that he's not the only one that deals with my texts late at night or early. Her staff gets it too. Our community continues to be recognized throughout the nation as a safe place to live and raise a family. Much of that is in large part to the tremendous partnership this city has with the supervisor and the LA County Sheriff's Department. One of the top issues in Santa Clarita, as we heard this morning, is the proposed repurposing of Camp Scott to serve as a permanent facility for juvenile serious offenders. As you all know, the City Council voted unanimously to oppose the use of Camp Scott for this purpose in June of 2021. Built in the 50s, Camp Scott is a dilapidated facility that lacks the necessary capacity for the programming and treatment needed to rehabilitate juvenile serious offenders. So with that said, though, I want to say thank you, Supervisor, for your motion last July and your motion on the agenda for tomorrow's Board of Supervisors meeting. Barry J. Neidorf has the capacity, programming, and staff to adequately serve juvenile serious offenders and is doing that right now in the interim. Your motion is the most sensible approach and takes advantage of existing plans to reform Barry J. Nydorf and develop a facility that can serve as a national model for rehabilitative treatment of juvenile facilities. Our entire community has worked and continue to work to ensure that Camp Scott is not designated for this purpose, and we appreciate all of your efforts related to this issue and for listening to your residents. Under the leadership of Captain Justin Diaz, our Part 1 crime rate has decreased by approximately 16% in comparison to our rate 5 years ago. However, our Part 1 crime rate through the first 2 months of this year has increased significantly by over 35% in comparison to the same period of time last year. This includes such crime as assault, burglary, grand theft auto, and larceny. This increase in the Part 1 crime rate, which is something that is being experienced throughout the county, is a direct result of the impact the district attorney's unilateral and destructive policies has had in local and regional public safety. Despite the DA's special directives, though, which have crippled the justice system and the rights of victims and their families are being ignored, the Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff's Station has continued its proactive approach and tireless efforts to keep Santa Clarita as one of the safest cities in the nation. The dedication of our public safety men and women that serve our station is unmatched, and the partnership showcased here between this city and you, Supervisor, is critical in continuing to ensure that Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff's Station has the resources needed to protect and serve our community. As one of our shared priorities has also been traffic safety, and with a variety of resources dedicated to traffic safety from the community, county, and city, I'm proud to report that in the last 5 years, our collision rate on our streets is down 35%, and injury rate is down 34%. Once again, this partnership between our city traffic engineers and the sheriff's station, especially our motorists, has played a major role in enhancing traffic safety and keeping our drivers, pedestrians, and cyclists safe on our roads. I know that you face many battles and challenges every day as you represent the residents in Santa Clarita and your constituency throughout the 5th District. And I want you to know that we appreciate all of your hard work and support for our city. Given the circumstances related to the pandemic and the DA's policies, I do want to take a moment as well and thank Captain Justin Diaz and Operations Lieutenant Rod Loweridge, the deputy station personnel and their families for the work and sacrifice that they make each and every day here in Santa Clarita. Thank you, Mary. Thank you.
I think it's too early for Justin. Where is he? We all can get up, he can't. Yeah, so, I want to talk about Camp Scott. And, I keep talking about the fact that I've been with the county for a while. In the old days, as my father and mother used to say, we actually let a department do their job. We're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to experts to bring forward recommendations based on criteria. So the recommendation for Barry J. Nydorf is not something that I woke up and said, let's do it there. It's the department looking across the board at what is in the best interest of these juveniles. And I really do appreciate the work you're doing as chaplain, because I agree with you. I believe in redemption. Who here does not believe in redemption? Who here does not recognize that we have to do what's right? But we're playing politics with the lives of these children. It makes absolutely no sense to do what this board is doing. And this is politics at its worst. You've got a supervisor who wanted Kilpatrick from day one, and the department said it was not ready to place juveniles at that facility. And we go ahead and do it anyway. It's about taking another camp, Camp Scott. And by the way, Applebaum, Page, and Laverne were considered as well. So it's not just about Camp Scott. All were on the table. And you had a department and a director, a probation officer, who we unanimously approved, that came from San Diego, that's putting the proposal together exactly like what would have been at Barry Nydorf. And his recommendation was to house these individuals, because they're estimating up to 150 at Barry Nydorf. But this board, playing politics, has decided not to do it. So for me, it's not about, I don't want it in my district, because, quite frankly, the 5th District has all but one or two, all but 2 camps. So it's not about, I don't want it in my district. It's about what's doing right for the children. And tomorrow, make no mistake, the gloves are off. When you've got motions coming in and the department hasn't even been consulted, what does that tell you about what this board is doing? This board is ramming it down the throats of the department and, quite frankly, the community. And you talk about Gascon, the people voted him into office, and we've become a petri dish and experiment. And what's happened? Law enforcement's left to clean up the mess. Who do you think is going to have to clean up the mess when we put together a proposal that the department does not recommend for several reasons? Number one, the safety of the youth. Number two, the location. And number three, the safety of the personnel. So in 4 years, when the LA Times is writing articles about horrific things that are not happening and not being done, who's going to get blamed? It's not going to be the people that voted for it at the Board of Supervisors and shoved it down their throat. It's going to be the department who's left holding the bag. And, you know, I will say this is politics at its worst. And I'm disappointed in my colleagues. I'm disappointed in my colleague that put a green sheet on without even consulting the department. That, oh, by the way, is talking about a camp in Laverne, now making that into something that that we're not quite clear what her proposal is. See, I'm old school. When Scott was being proposed, we had a hearing up here so that you all could be a part of the solution. So to my colleague who is bringing in a motion on Laverne, we're going to have a hearing in Laverne. I'm still old school. It's still my district, and I want to hear from the people. So, you know, in case you can't tell, I am, as they say, locked and loaded for tomorrow, and I look forward to a robust discussion. Given the deals being cut, and given what's on the green sheet, which is the 72 hours before the board meeting, I can tell that deals have been cut to close Central Juvenile Hall. But I believe if you do what's right, the politics work themselves out. And I promise you all here today, I will do what's right. I will vote my conscience. And it's not about the population, it's about the placement. Because again, I would hope that we would all agree that these youth deserve a second chance. But we have an obligation to provide them with all the resources necessary. And the legislation that was done in Sacramento is very specific in terms of what we have to do. So we have to reimagine, I'm so sick of that word reimagine, but we have to reimagine Barry Nydorf. We have to put together a facility that actually is home-like and therapeutic and includes family members when possible. Barry Nydorf is the right location. Again, not me dictating the department. This is the department putting together a proposal which I would encourage you to go and take a look at. Well thought out. But yet, once again, I guess politicians know better than the subject matter experts that we hire. But given what's going on in politics right now, I respectfully disagree. So, you know, stay tuned tomorrow. Encourage your friends and family to call in. The more that don't live in my district, the better. Because the only way we're going to have a voice is if we use it. But I want to thank you all who have called each and every week, every other week. We don't even meet it weekly now. Every other week to voice your concerns. It has made a difference. And I will continue to fight, again, not for this population, because I believe they have a right to be housed somewhere, but it's got to be the right placements that's going to allow them to come out better than they went in. And I firmly believe that Scott and Kilpatrick is a half-baked idea based on the subject experts that have brought forward their recommendations. So tomorrow's going to be an exciting day, and I think not having lost an hour of sleep is going to help me be even more cranky. But I'm ready. I'm ready.
We never applaud in our meetings, but that warrants applause. You're an amazing woman, and we thank you. Let's move on to Councilmember McLean on transportation.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to mention one thing. I have been attending, as you know, the BRCH, the Blue Ribbon Council meetings. And the members are concerned about the cost and the time frame. And they were told that what they proposed is going to be extremely costly. So I'm going to be calling in tomorrow and talking about that.
Who's they?
I have the names.
No, but you said they say it's gonna be costly. Who are you talking about?
Oh, at the last BRCH meeting,
Right.
there was conversations about the cost, the time frame when they could get, the kids,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
you know, placed. No, yeah, I didn't exactly, sorry, but anyway, I wanna thank you very much. So, common sense hopefully will prevail. Anyway,
Not with this one.
it's really great to have you here, and thank you so much. And as you know, transportation is very near and dear to my heart, and I want to thank you for over the years, the collaboration that we've had and what you've been able to accomplish for us. For many, many years, the North County Transportation Coalition, which is made up of the North County and trying to get money for the North County, was not going very far, but you came along, and we are now a JPA because of you. And we now have a much stronger voice than we had before, so I want to thank you very much for that. About 50% of our residents here commute out of our valley for work, and they are stuck on freeways and don't have adequate transportation, alternate transportation. But through you and through your efforts, we have the I-5 North County Enhancements Project. It is a major undertaking which those who travel the I-5 every day know about. And those who live near it get to hear the construction going on, but when it's finished, it is going to create a very positive change for all of those traveling through it. It is a major transportation hub for goods movements, and it is not getting, well, it hasn't been getting the attention that it needs, but through your efforts, I want to thank you very much for what's happening right now. And your work as a Metro board member and advocating on behalf of all of us has been critical, and we want to thank you very much for that. The residents of our city obviously depend on our local freeways and whether they're driving to and from work each day or the destinations throughout Southern California region. And talking about the region, I also serve on the San Fernando Valley COG, and have to remind all of those who come and give us a report that the report doesn't stop at the interchange, the Newhall interchange there. It goes north, cities of Lancaster and Palmdale and Santa Clarita. We depend on getting funds in order to enhance the improvements on the 14 as well as the 5. So we want to thank you for that as well. So as investments of over $220 million have been secured through the collaboration between Metro, Metrolink, and the North Los Angeles County Transportation Coalition, I'm extremely excited for the enhancements that will be implemented on the Antelope Valley Metrolink line. And the pandemic has really put a stop to some of the improvements that we have been looking forward to. And I'm hoping that sooner rather than later, there will be enhanced trains. The number of trains needs to be enhanced. I'm not sure about the ridership. I haven't gotten a report lately on the ridership of the Metrolink, but I have a feeling it's not going to go up very far until we get some more trains. 2-hour headways is not okay. If you're downtown, it goes from, I think, 11:30 and the next one is 3:30. That's 4 hours actually, and that's not gonna get it done. So I'm hoping that we can get that back to where it was before. And with the ability that you have and the efforts you have put forth, we will soon have 30-minute headways. And looking forward to that with the enhancements of double tracking and such. So as things start to reopen, as I say, I hope to see an increase in the Metrolink services, especially at night. This is one of the most asked for things from our residents, to have late night trains so that they can travel to downtown LA and other points, go to games and such, and get back home. Right now, we can get there, but after the games and shows and stuff, they can't get back. So I think ridership will definitely increase once that happens. So the desperately needed improvements on I-14 and Metrolink and I-5, want to thank you once again. It is such a pleasure to work with you on this. And just want to thank you very, very much for being here, and look forward to a long time more working with you and getting the improvements and enhancements we need for our residents out here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember McLean. Councilmember Smythe.
Well, I'll just, this one's an easy one. Obviously with Metrolink, now with the cost of gas, what it is, we are seeing the numbers go up. Believe it or not, during the pandemic, one of the issues with increasing the services has been personnel. Because we get our engineers from Amtrak, and we were having a tough time and we had to make difficult choices. So the goal is to actually bring it back to where it was. And you've been an advocate, and I want to thank you for the night service. I agree, it'd be nice to be able to hop on a train and get downtown, but then actually know that you're going to be able to get on a train to get back up. And so this is something that we're going to work on together. The North County Transportation Coalition has made a real difference in terms of trying to get funding. We need to start thinking big. We always basically piece things together, and now we're actually looking at it as a region, looking at both the 14 and the 5. We've been successful on the 5, and I'd be remiss if I didn't actually acknowledge my staff, because I'm doing the talking, but they do all the heavy lifting. And Dave Perry, who handles transportation, has been instrumental in working with the North County Transportation Coalition to really ensure that the funds that we get come back up to this region. And so I'm excited. I think there's a lot of opportunities. I'm working with the high-speed rail, not an endorsement of high-speed rail, but an endorsement of the fact that they have money and have a plan. And through Dave's work, we put together a plan to actually cut the ride from Union Station to the Antelope Valley to 1 hour from 2 hours, if we can get the improvements and the funding from the state and the federal government actually. But we're looking to the state on that, and so I'm excited. But I want to acknowledge Dave for that, because if you can get from downtown to Palmdale in 1 hour, I joke, but I'm really not joking. I can run faster than parts where that train up toward Acton Dulce, because of the fact that it curves, and we have an opportunity, and I believe it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to receive this funding. We've got the interest of both federal and state individuals looking to help us, and so I'm excited. I think this is a great time to be working on transportation up here in the Antelope Valley, or in the Santa Cruz Valley, working with the Antelope Valley. And I'm just looking forward to rolling up our sleeves and getting it done. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor, thank you, Supervisor. So, I know that prior to the pandemic, the issue of homelessness was really the front page issue for the state, and in many cases, the top issues here in the county. And while during the pandemic, obviously, it may have moved off the front page, the issue certainly has not gone away. And here in Santa Clarita, we've continued, we've continued our efforts to create, a Santa Clarita specific plan. And that's something that, and I know you know, Supervisor, that we really try to focus on in Santa Clarita is the local solutions. And, Councilmember McLean and I serve on our community's task force that has well over 30 different organizations, from nonprofits, school districts, healthcare providers that have come together to create our action plan. And actually, Wednesday, we have our kind of follow-up because we achieved most of our first 3-year plan. When we started in 2017, we put together a community plan, and we were able to identify and address most of those issues. And so now we've pivoted, to what does it look like? And I know your staff is a big part of that task force as well. What's I think been frustrating, just as anything, is we feel that because we have a plan in Santa Clarita, because we've put together a roadmap, we still struggle in times of accessing those Measure H dollars. And I think that led to a lot of hesitation. I have no problem saying I opposed Measure H in the beginning because I think as one of the speakers mentioned, where does that revenue go, and how do you have an accounting for it? Because we know in Santa Clarita we can put together a plan that will address the issue in our community, but we're always fighting for those dollars. And we wouldn't have been as successful as we have been in obtaining over $500,000 to date without your support and your staff and your team to help try to bring those dollars back to Santa Clarita. And some of the things we've been able to do, we've had homeless coordination services, innovation grants, and very exciting is the development of the Family Promises Transitional Housing Complex in Newhall, which is, again, a great collaboration between the city donating the land, your office with acquiring additional resources, and the board of the Family Promise. We also have another, our largest provider, service provider, Bridge to Home, and I know their board's here, and many of us are going to be heading over, in about an hour and a half for the groundbreaking, and that's something that's very exciting, and I think it really transitions and speaks to kind of the transition of the narrative around homelessness. When we first started with a temporary winter shelter, I know Council Members McLean and West and I were on those early council meetings where there was significant opposition, and we had to rotate year after year where the temporary winter shelter would be because of community concerns. But it was just interesting as we established the location for Bridge to Home to have a permanent location. There were no speakers in opposition to that. And I think that just speaks to our community, to the greater understanding of homelessness and the circumstances and the need. And that's why we're excited to have break ground today on a full-time, permanent shelter that will provide those all-encompassing services that our members of our community need. Another just example of that collaboration, during the pandemic, Bridge to Home, because of their space limitations, if you recall, everyone had to be housed and had to have certain spaces, they were overflowed and they couldn't provide housing for all of the clients. So we partnered with them to open up the Newhall Community Center because we had to shut all of those down. But it was a big enough facility to house our homeless population with the space requirements set forth by public health. But then we got to a point where, we wanted to reopen our community center. But Bridge to Home didn't have a facility now. So what were we going to do? And we were able to establish a transitional temporary facility where we are now. And again, that would not have happened without your office and the county support to provide a 6-figure contribution along with the city's donation to allow for that temporary housing where everyone's going to be now while the new facility is being built. So it really is something that we take great pride in our community for developing a plan specifically to Santa Clarita. And it's no surprise that when we developed our community task force that, again, well over 30 different organizations wanted to be a part of it, are active members, and bring such an array of expertise to help guide our staff to reach those milestones and goals. And we look forward to transitioning from a groundbreaking to a ribbon cutting in the next several years to have that great new facility at Bridgestone. So again, thank you, and again, your staff's been great as always, participating, helping us navigate. Because sometimes we have very enthusiastic members of our task force that are not super happy with LAHSA sometimes, and your staff does a good job of being a buffer for them and helping everybody understand kind of the process. So again, we look forward to this morning, and in a couple of years from now, we're going to open up Family Promise and the Bridgestone facilities.
Thank you. And to the individual that asked about transparency on Measure H funding, I couldn't agree with you more, which is in part and parcel why I push for the Blue Ribbon Commission to be established on homelessness. Because I will tell you, and I chuckled because one of my colleagues, and I looked to my Chief of Staff, Anna Maradi, who was in the room with me, she made a comment that she's hearing that people would support continuing Measure H. And I'm thinking, I don't know who she's talking to, because the people I'm talking to are saying, what am I getting for my money? The city of LA's done really well. But what about the other 88 cities? And so the Blue Ribbon Commission was set up, quite frankly, because of the discussions I've had with you all, and then my other 19 cities that I represent. It's like, we're paying in, but what are we getting out of it? And the Blue Ribbon Commission actually, I think this last meeting finally showed how much you're putting in versus how much you're getting back. And a lot of cities, it confirmed what they already knew. So transparency, I agree wholeheartedly. It's your money. You have a right to know how it's being spent. So I'm looking forward to getting the recommendation by the Blue Ribbon Commission. It's going to come as no surprise to anybody, and it didn't come as a surprise to me. This organization that's called LAHSA, LA Homeless Services Authority, needs to be, I'm going to choose my words carefully, needs to be re-evaluated. Reimagined. And I also chuckle when someone said that the people that are actually doing well right now are the providers, and we're basically creating an industry where it's almost that they want to continue to perpetuate in order to bring the funding. They don't want to change it. But I'm telling you, the status quo is not working. It's not working. And so I am reading a book right now called San Francisco. Don't like the name, but it's pretty accurate. But it talks about the fact that you have to have a balanced approach to how you deal with the homeless issue. Balanced approach. Housing alone is not going to get us out of this problem. Mental health issues as well as substance abuse issues. So we have to build the infrastructure. That's something that I'm committed. Mental health is something that I'm very committed to. And so we're going to be working on that. But make no mistake, when this Blue Ribbon Commission report comes out, I'm excited because I think it's finally going to shed light on what needs to be done, and that is to allow you all up here in Santa Clarita to work toward addressing the homeless issue. You've got a plan. We need to get out of the way and let you execute it, because you're, in essence, held accountable by your constituents. And I get it, and I'm part of that solution. And Bridgestone Home, thank you for everything you do. I know that we put about $3.1 million in, that's Measure H dollars. I know we've still got a gap, but there's no question this community is committed to addressing the homeless issue. But I will tell you, if we do not hold individuals accountable, the community is going to get tired. Because when you talk about the numbers going up, we're housing people. But behind every 2 we house, 4 end up on the street. And again, it's not about housing alone. So I think that we need to have a balanced approach toward this. I want to acknowledge, I just saw one of our finest LA County Sheriff walk in. They've got an incredible team, the host team, which does outreach out in the community and do a remarkable job. We need to get more host teams out there, working with the community. These are not going out and putting handcuffs on, they are developing relationships with the homeless individuals, especially those living in the riverbeds and areas that are hard to reach. We have an opportunity to work together. So as the Urban Commission report comes out, I'm gonna look to you all to weigh in, and feel free to be critical of areas you don't agree, I know you will, but also areas where you do agree. And I think that if we can put together something, it will actually empower the other 88 cities, or the 87 cities that currently feel that they don't have a voice. Are you all a COC? Continuum of Care? No, you're not, okay, so you depend upon, that's Continuum of Care, Pasadena and Glendale, and so they get kind of a cut off the top. You all don't, so you should be competing, or should be getting funds that truly are addressing the plan that you have. So I look forward to working with you. Yeah.
Thank you, Supervisor. Thank you, Supervisor. Councilman Miranda, delighted to have you speak next on.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Senator Barger, for joining us today. As we always continue.
I don't want to be a senator. I can barely handle supervisor.
I would have no problem with you as our senator.
I know.
As we always continue to look for ways to enhance the quality of life for our residents, I would like to highlight some of the partnerships between the city and the county regarding the arts. The Los Angeles County Department of Arts and Culture has been a tremendous partner with the city in several art endeavors and creative programs. A few examples of this collaborative include the Arts Internship Program, Arts Education Collaborative, and Civic Art Program. The city has participated in the Arts Internship Program through the Los Angeles County Department of Arts and Culture for many years. This year's intern developed a creative economy report that detailed the role and creative industries had in local business establishments, employment and wages, and the impact of COVID-19 pandemic had on the sector. Additionally, the city has served as the host for several meetings for the Los Angeles County Department of Arts and Culture Arts Education Collective. Staff from the collective led the community through a strategic planning process for the entire Santa Clarita Valley that resulted in the City of Santa Clarita Regional Strategic Arts Education Plan, which was presented to the Arts Commission in their December 2021 meeting. The plan recommendations are beginning to be implemented with the assistance of a county contractor serving as the team's advisor through the end of the year. Furthermore, the city's public art program includes a civic art funding mechanism for city capital improvement projects, which was modeled on the program developed by LA County. Additionally, staff from the Los Angeles County Department of Arts and Culture, Civic Art, have served on artist selection committees for the city's program as advisors since the program was launched over 3 years ago. County staff have assisted the city and have served on the artist selection committees on several projects, including California Scape at the Fair Oaks Park, which was installed in 2020, and Communitree at the Canyon Country Community Center, which was installed last fall. As many may know, the City of Santa Clarita developed an arts master plan that was adopted by the City Council in 2016. One of the recommendations of the plan was to develop a community arts center. This concept was suggested to potentially be accommodated at the former SCV Senior Center in Newhall. This idea was combined with requests from the local veterans community to have a center that we, the county and the city, are nearing completion on an arts and veterans needs assessment, which should be completed next month. As we are all excited in developing a facility that will offer so many great things for our community, I would like to thank Stephanie English and other county staff who have played a significant role in the development of the needs assessment. Thank you again for joining us today, and I look forward to future opportunities to collaborate in enhancing the arts in Santa Clarita. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, and before I go on, Stephanie English, I want to acknowledge Stephanie as well, my field rep out here in Santa Clarita. Anna Marati, my chief of staff, Natalie, who keeps her out of trouble, but also at our Santa Clarita office. Christina Mesasan, who is charged with probation right now and all things public safety, so she probably has one of the most difficult jobs, arguably in our office. Dave Perry. Dave Benetta used to be Mike's planning deputy many years ago. Susie Niemer, and then Gina Ender, who we stole from the Signal, who now is working on arts programs in my office. Tyler Cash, who handles homelessness issues. Anders Corey, who handles mental health and public health and health services. And then Roberto Alvarez, raise your hand in the back, who is our veterans and actually doing planning as well. And all things and helping with transportation. So I just want to acknowledge them because they are probably the most important part of my office. But on the arts, I'm excited. I think we have opportunity. I know that you all did not envision arts and vets together, but I do, and so I'm committed to this. I'm excited that you finally recognize that I'm not letting go, and I think that we have an opportunity, and so I'm excited. I think, again, arts with the county, with the entire board, this is the one thing we actually do agree on, investing in arts, and so putting that money toward significant programs. And so we have a facility up here, we have an opportunity, and I think the collaboration is going to be important. And Ken, I look forward to working with you. I'm going to leave my checkbook at home, but I look forward to working with you. But all kidding aside, I'm excited. And I know that up here in Santa Clarita, I know, Lorene, this has been a passion of yours as well. We have an opportunity, and the theme, I guess, today is an opportunity. We've got an opportunity on a lot of fronts. And I'm ready to roll up my sleeve and work with you. I'm trying to see if I forgot any staff I didn't. No. Thank you.
Thank everybody. They're all great. As we wrap this up, I just have a few things to say. It's an exceptional gift, and we're very fortunate to have a hardworking supervisor and staff. The relationship between the city and county to facilitate a really good community, it takes that collaboration to work together. And this last year, and through the pandemic, some amazing things happened really for Santa Clarita. We built a new sheriff station in collaboration with the county, first one in 50 years, about. And it's beautiful, and it allows the sheriff's staff, who we really appreciate them. And if you all out there really appreciate them, let's get somebody in charge that's going to help prosecute criminals so that they don't have to work so hard. Yeah. And I just was thrilled to see that. We also worked with you on our Canyon Country Community Center, and there's a lot of work to solve the drainage issues in Mid Canyon, which have been there forever. And so we're really thrilled about having those things resolved. And I want to, before I go, this is not my list, but I just want to say something we should talk about in the future, improvements on the old road. And how to, because we're going to hit an earthquake one of these days. And the old road, if it were improved all the way down to Balboa Boulevard, would get us in and out of this valley. It's a critical vital link. It is the old road. It's been there forever, and the freeways are wonderful and they're being improved. But that is really a safety net. So I'd love to work with you and your staff on that, because we've all chatted about it over the years, but there's so many other things going on. So,
Now, we can see, every time I have an opportunity, I fight for funding. Dave will tell you, sick of hearing it, I call it the old school road, because we talk about it constantly. We're beginning to do some improvements, but we've got to do it all the way down to that road.
all of it down.
Yeah, I totally agree. So this is, and that's why the NCTC has been instrumental as well, because we've now got a body that's credible, that we can actually compete with some of these infrastructure dollars and look to addressing that issue. So yeah.
Yeah, it's nice that it's actually a doable project, and we can't do it. So look for us to do that. We are very blessed for your dedication, and I would be really remiss if I didn't point out Stephanie English and She is just amazing, and Natalie Vartanian, they did an exceptional job representing you here. They answer my calls willingly or unwillingly, unless you're part of always will. Thank you, Stephanie. I might not be so pleasant if I were you, but thank you very much. They're just great. They're tried and true professionals, as all they are, all of them are. And I love seeing Dave, who I haven't seen forever. They've been hiding him, but good to see you again, Dave. All of you are really appreciated, and we just have a lot more to do. There's some exciting things you can do. I'm really proud to hear about your support, and tomorrow we're all going to be with you 100%. We
I'll
thank you.
feel you all.
You are very well. Your courage and your dedication or commitment on this issue are appreciated by the entire community, really.
Can I say one thing, actually, when I see the sheriff back there, you know, I mean, one of the issues that we're gonna be bringing forward, and I requested is staffing. And the fact that I know that, I'm sure Santa Cruz is facing it like every other station, challenges, staffing, callback. And I'm prepared to work with another supervisor to bring forward a request to increase academies. Because just because you put them in an academy doesn't mean when they get out, they go on the street. It takes a good 10 months to a year to get them ready. So that's a lag time. So as we lose deputies, it's important for us to continue to bring new ones in to cover that, and that impacts you all. You're a contract city. The sheriff has made it very clear that he's concerned about the ability to continue to staff both the contract cities as well as unincorporated. You all represent your city on the contract side. I represent the unincorporated. So my loyalty is to making sure we're staffing the unincorporated, but it's to work with you all to make sure that you've got the ability to get staffing where you need it. So stay tuned. I'm going to be looking for you all to weigh in on that with contract cities, Ken, in terms of the need, which I know you have, but I just want to bring that to your attention that the sheriff's not a shy wallflower, so he's made it clear that we need to get more sheriffs into the academy so we can get them out into the jails and streets. And I am working with him on that. So I just want to make it clear to you all that that is a priority as well.
Thank you, Supervisor. We're really glad you're not a shy wallflower either. Rooting for you. We have a presentation that I'd like to share, and I want to give you that book.
Oh,
Did they get fixed?